Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the second season of Descent into the Void, a tale of D20s, where six friends join together to tell a story of mythic proportion.
Gather round, gather round. Let me tell you a tale of life and death, of joy and sorrow, a tale of D20s.
We'd like to give a special spotlight to our friends Tale of the Manticore. Tale of the Manticore is a hybrid between a dark fantasy novel and an old school D&D game. All the dice rolls are real and no character is safe. In other words, it is a cast where chaos rolls. No zany antics or cure-sci characters, but a serious blood and guts role-playing experience. Check them out at taleofthemanticore.podbean.com.
So, without further ado, let's continue into our recap of Season 1. Last season, Liberators, you made it to Duskhaven outside the borders of the country Thelos, rescued your friend the kidnapped king from the Hallister Beholder, befriended Jade the Dream Shaman who left you with a prophecy, and made your way over to the country of Shivrin to stop Duran the Gale's warband from obtaining a mystical shard that was part of a god-killing weapon quoted in said prophecy. En route, you met the powerful tiefling demon fighting force known as the Demon Dancers, using a power known as vagaries to enhance their abilities. Genju, the leader of the Flame Dancers, guided you to his base, and the base of the Demon Dancers known as Frostmoor. On the way, you were attacked by a powerful demon known as Enceladus, and you created a miracle by growing a tree of Demon's Bane known as Heaven's Root, but lost an ally on the way. In Frostmoor, you met with the Demon Dancers leader, the Daimyo Kaijin, the other captains, and Lanso Goretto, the Seekers Guild leader here in Duskhaven. You then ran into Duran's warband and discovered they were under the control of the sinister drow Doramo. Duran's mentor and father figure Galdrim was freed from his grasp, but the others were still trapped underneath his spell. You continued to level yourselves up in the Seekers Guild, obtaining the Electrum status, and then went on a journey to Airwatch to deliver cargo. On the way, you continued to perform miracles, creating more of the Heaven's Dew. You also fought an agent of the Dark Lord being the demon leader of the Black Kingdom to the east, and learned that Horatio's mother looked exactly identical to the goddess Gaia, as well as that King's patron goddess Myliki was connected to an ancient tale. Duran unlocked his vagary, which was told to be impossible for non-tieflings, and you joined the Daimyo's son Kai in defense of Frostmoor, as Kaijin had been defeated by Doramo, who stole an ancient weapon that powered their demon-killing blades, and Kaijin's brother Hiei stepped in to take over. The group, with the exception of Horatio, unlocked your vagaries during the trial of Kudo Mountain, but you lost your battle against Hiei and fled to Fia, the country's capital. And you met up with Queen Camilla to warn her of the upcoming war from Frostmoor and Hiei. She sent you on a quest to go back to Thelos, to the arcane capital, and seek an audience with King Terminus, and deliver a secret letter that will aid in the fight to come. King and Horatio communed with the gods, and saw a vision of the past where Gaia, Eros, and Erebus, the legendary Trias, a group of wizards that ascended to godhood, were making their journey to do so, discovering that Erebus sounded exactly like Doramo. Love seemed to bloom on your travels as Duran and King exchanged heartful words and a kiss of affection. Now, traveling by magical boat, you had garnered a captain in the form of Lancel to take you to Thelos, so you to deliver your message, who had turned out to be an agent of the Dark Lord Deja Vu, who had disguised themselves, and sicked on you a large demon dragon turtle to attack. You had managed to escape, and using Horatio's keen mind to guide you, you are now traveling on this mystical boat from Queen Camilla. The wind is blowing around you and the sea is crashing against the Queen's ship. What do you do next?
So we're on the sea heading towards, I forgot the name.
You are heading to Beach Bell.
Beach Bell?
Mm-hmm.
Beach Bell.
We said, fuck it, right? We're gonna go right there.
I mean, you're already compromised, so...
How far away from Fia are we on this map?
So right now, if you let me go ahead and share the world map for you all. You guys are about halfway between Fia and Beach Bell. It's going to take you a few more days to make it to Beach Bell at this point.
Yeah, so Horatio would say, I'm just going to head directly there since we've already been discovered.
So we only just completed the battle?
We only just got away.
So this is like seconds after we got out of the creature's peripheral.
Well, it's like a couple hours has passed. You guys have sailed away in silence, trying to speed yourselves from the demon dragon turtle that's roaring in the background. You can still see it off the edge of the horizon, but it's getting smaller and smaller as it roars, shaking the waters beneath you, pushing you further to your destination.
Is everyone alright?
I'm gonna go cook. This has been too much. Minako will leave.
It seems like we're losing it, so we should be fine. King, I don't know if you have the ability to do so at the moment, but maybe you should get a message to Queen Camilla and let her know what's happened.
I can't talk to her until tomorrow.
Okay. Where's Duran and Cal?
They're up at the front of the ship. I'm not sure of boat terms.
Alright, so, Liberators, you all split up for the time being. Is there anything you wish to do? You do know it will take you probably a few more days to make it to Beach Bell. Using the map that you have, but that's inside the captain's quarters, you can easily kind of pinpoint using Horatio's keen mind where you need to go.
Is there a way to put this boat kind of on autopilot?
I mean, you can set the boat up, and there are different... Actually, well, for me, an intelligence check. No, roll me an intelligence check to see if you can figure out those controls.
First roll of season 2, you
can
guys!
Do that because you did read the instructions.
Wizard.
That is a 22.
Beautiful. So you see how there are stokes in the helm where you can position it without having the helm move, so you can keep it going in the direction that you're heading. And you know you want to go due east, and you always know where north is, so you easily figure out where east is, and you can position in that accordingly to keep it on autopilot.
Yeah, so I position myself, or I position the boat here to due east, and then I fasten it so that it goes on autopilot.
Okay. Putting in the mechanism in the proper fashion, you place it together, and the boat jerks for a second, but gets smooth afterwards, and you look ahead, closing your eyes and remembering where north is. You are exactly going east, heading towards Beach Bell. Anything anyone else wants to do or wishes to do?
So when Minako gets to be alone, she goes to the kitchen to be alone, and after closing the door behind her, she takes out one of the candles that's around and lights it with a bit of magic, and then whispers to it, "Fia has fallen. We leave now, but the plan worked. King trusts me. Your will shall be done."
All right. As you close your eyes for a moment, the exterior of your vision doesn't go black and hazy like it normally does, but you do sense the presence of the burning hand on your shoulder. All you hear in the background it's just laughter slowly echoing off at the edge of your ability to listen, and then it slowly fades away.
She snuffs the candle out with a worried expression and proceeds to cook a delicious meal for her companions.
A moment after that conversation finishes, King sneezes. Shoo! Oh, I think I'm getting hungry. I might go help Minako cook, and I'm gonna go look for her to help her cook.
Okay.
Duran is gonna be like on the bow with Cal trying to understand the guns.
Horatio was just about to find Cal and discuss maybe these cannons here, these guns, to try to understand how to maybe help Cal have basically one of these handy with him.
So you're trying to learn how the guns work?
Yes, to see if maybe we can possibly at some point build one.
Oh, okay. Well, the guns are located towards the entrance that both Cal and Duran used to shoot at the dragon turtle before, was actually closer to the helm. So there was two entryways to the left and to the right of the wheel, and they went into it and then kind of went to inside the back center of the boat and then controlled it handheld So if you want to, you can go in there and roll me an investigation check if you want to inspect it. But you also have the instructions that explain how it works.
Okay. Well, I would try to speak with Cal and Duran both since they use them, and I'd basically float the idea to Cal, like, do you think it would be possible to maybe have a portable one that you can carry around in case we ever need to lay siege to a large enemy?
That would be quite an idea. I like it a lot. Do you think it would fit in a bag of holding?
Well, first we need to understand how it works.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So let me see. Whenever Doran and I were shooting these things off before, and I'll go back down into that seated area for the gun, DM, and kind of, was it just like a single shot?
Yeah. So you guys and Duran, you walk up and see everyone convening over at towards the aft where the wheel is, and start to inspect. And all of you look down into it. Looking in, you see it looks like a mechanism that brings you down, that lowers you down into a seat. Once you're inside of a seat, there are two handles with buttons on the left and right, and by clicking them both together and using the target reticule, you fire the cannons that are all on the left or right side of the ship.
So it works like this. This is at least what we figured out how to do. Is there anything in that manual of yours that might be able to give us a little bit more information?
DM, the manual is not portable, right? It's like below. You have to go down to read it. Well, I would have to take a look at it. Maybe we can do that at some point. But granted, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be able to replicate one with the same amount of firepower. But I just kind of want the potency behind it, you know?
Yeah, I totally understand. I think, what if we went below deck and took a look at the gun directly?
Yeah, we should. I think that's a great idea, actually, Cal.
Yeah, we might have to figure out some kind of way to modify the firing mechanism. Kind of like, I pull up one of my revolvers, kind of like the trigger on this revolver, pulling the pin back and firing my bullets. Maybe there's something we can do with the guns downstairs where we can figure out a way to make our own.
I just wants to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. Let's head downstairs and take a look at it.
Okay. So you guys all get together and start to make your way down the steps of the ship. And in Horatio, you know the layout of the boat pretty well at this point, running back and forth and with your keen mind. So you take them all the way down to where the ship's engine was. Here you can hear the humming of the magic going throughout the tubing and metal pieces, and of course the circular pearl-like orb battery that powers it. Going into the side area, you do see holes where the cannons are located, and you can see there's tubing leading down to each one of the cannons, possibly coming from this battery source and operated, now realizing it's operated through the internal area where Cal and Durant has shot from.
Alright, so I would like to look at the manual and specifically look for if I had to repair the gun, just to kind of look through how the intricacies of it is, to see if maybe there's a way to build even though it wouldn't be as powerful, build a portable version of this gun.
Okay. You take some time to read through it, and the rest of them wait on for you to complete reading it, and after about 10 minutes or so, you complete the sections specifically that talk about these cannons, these magical cannons. Looking through it, you do see how it works. It uses the magic coming from the battery source that you had powered up before, when Deja Vu had turned it all off before the dragon turtle attacked. And then the tubing leads up into it, creating a magical cannon blast of energy. So it's pure arcana being shot off at a target. For you to build something like this, it doesn't explain how to build it. It does say how you can fix it though, and it is fixed using high level spells, meaning something like a wish spell or equivalent to it. It's really high end stuff that the ship is, so you don't really think you can repair it with your current abilities.
Okay, so essentially it's basically a gun that you throw magic into it and it fires that magic out.
That's pretty intriguing. I've never heard of a magic gun like that.
Cal, roll me either a history check or a wisdom check at advantage.
I just don't understand how this helps us hit anything with them. Our enemies are getting stronger, and they've infiltrated us again.
I got a 15 on my history check.
So a 15. As Horatio was explaining about how the ship works and how it's harnessing magic, you get the strange sensation that it's familiar. Looking down at your guns, you don't really know exactly how it takes your power of your divine power. You just think it's a blessing from Kalimdor. But the more he goes about it, the feeling of how the magic is collected into the barrel and shot out, it's almost identical to the way that your guns work.
Horatio, that part about moving the magic around and kind of compartmentalizing it into something that can be discharged.
Mm-hmm.
I never really thought of it like this, but maybe that's how the magic that flows through me, powered by Kalimdor, I think that's how my revolvers work as well. So maybe that is something that I could manage to pull off. And even you, such a wizard as yourself.
I prefer the arcane arts to be my weapon. However, I would be more than happy to help you create something extremely powerful if it can be done.
Maybe we can create something that stores our kinetic energy.
You mean like my ring? Duran says, holding up his ring of spell storing.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I could work on something. Maybe how would you feel about having some form of, I don't know, cannon-like gun?
I think in the right situation, it might be exactly what we need sometimes. I mean, look at what just happened to us.
Oh yeah, that's kind of the reason why I'm thinking we need to have this, because we were lucky that we were on this ship. We might not be so lucky next time.
Yeah, it's like when I was young, growing up in Fia, and I would be down at the docks. The fishermen would never say, anytime you're trying to catch a shark, you need a big hook. Maybe this could be our big gun for big enemies.
Yeah, we should probably take some time to work on designs and see how we can create this.
Good idea. Wizard Horatio, can you make me a big sword while you're at it?
I point at the both dual-bladed scimitar and the kinetic blade, and I say, I think you got some big ones there, friend.
Not big enough for these enemies. I need something so I can protect us. And these blades aren't sharp enough.
Well, I mean, you've unlocked the air vagary, right?
Correct, wizard.
And this kinetic blade, as he points towards the chaos-infused blade, it works. It hits harder the more you swing it, correct?
Yes. At least from how I hear from my enemies, it does.
Well, what if you manage to find, and this is just me spitballing here, manage to find a way to combine your air vagary and the blade to create some form of wind projectile, maybe? I don't know. I'm just thinking projectiles because we were just use these guns and all of that.
You see the familiar look of Duran's ears, brains oozing out of the side of his ears, and an idea above him.
Duran, think of it like a maneuver. You're a fighter, right?
So what you're saying, Wizard Horatio, is I use the wind to shoot my sword at them.
Maybe storing the centrifugal force as you're flying with that kinetic blade, maybe you can overcharge it and store up energy from the continual motion, and as you unleash the wind, it'll be overcharged somehow from a normal swing of the blade.
I see.
Let's make our way back upstairs and keep an eye out, just to be safe.
Wizard Horatio, we need new ways to detect enemies amongst us. We have allowed enemies to come too close to us, and we need a way to track them before they get this close again.
I have to agree.
I don't remember. I think my Hootie is no more, so I have to resummon him, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
Yeah, so I'll say, I can have Hootie kind of fly within 1,000 feet radius of us to make sure that we're good, and he can let me know if anything is going on. But I have to recast him. I assume we're having this conversation as we're walking upstairs.
Okay, before you walk, the last things that you finish reading the book and discussing this, you do see one more thing in the book. It does go over the creator of these magical cannons. Looking down, closing the book, curious, it does say that the archetype of this ship, the Ice Crown, it goes by the name, and as a signature it says Galilea Stilion.
Does that name sound familiar to Horatio? Okay, he actually takes out his notebook and writes that name down into it. And it puts a little side note saying, engineer of what's the name of the boat?
The Ice Crown.
Engineer of the Ice Crown. And then puts it away.
Right, and then you continue heading your way up, making yourselves up to the top of the ship. Meanwhile, as you make your way up, King, you finally make your way towards the kitchen where Monako is creating a meal.
Yeah, one second. And she's just kind of a second where she cleans up, putting away the candle before opening the door and greeting King with a smile.
How's it going?
All this has just been so stressful.
I know. Oh, what are you working on? Can I give you a hand? It's so just calming to have someone lead me in the kitchen, and you're so good at it.
I only just started. Sure. Let's get started. And she'll kind of lay out what they're gonna make.
And I'll follow her lead.
Okay. So you all start to prepare the meal. Go ahead and give me a performance check, Monako, at advantage, as you're using assistance from King.
Okay, 27.
27, nice. So you go ahead. The kitchen is fully filled with food and delectables that some of that you've never even seen before, you've heard of, but only royals get to taste something that sweet. And putting together this delicious meal of different meats and vegetables and fruits, you create a fantastic display of assorted display of all these different types of meals ready for consumption.
One would hardly believe we just fought a dragon.
Well, let's see the look on their faces when they smell this.
You know everyone's gonna love it. You're the best.
Oh, King.
I just have this like beaming look on my face. I feel so much better cooking with you. Let's get this out there and have dinner with the others.
Yeah. Here, why don't you start bringing them out?
Pick up one of the big pots and go to leave.
As you leave, she gives him this sort of guilty look, putting a hand to the bandage on her wrist before following after him with the rest of the food.
All right. So where are you taking the food?
I don't know, to the common area where we think they gather.
And Horatio, Duran, Cal, where are you? Are you heading to the top of the ship, or where were your destination?
Well, I suggested we headed to the top, but if we run into King...
But yeah, so as you guys are walking, and this all would have happened at the same time because you were down there for a bit discussing, you are making your way to the top, and it's at this point that King and Monako are carrying trays and piles of food downstairs to the common area, where that's basically where like the captain's quarters was, where you have your map and things like that. But you do meet each other on the staircase.
Oh, perfect! There you are. Come on, let's eat and regain some of our
Let me help
energy.
you with that.
Oh, please, thank you. And I'll hand him the big heavy pot I was carrying.
I will meet up with you guys in a second. Let me just make sure we set up a visual perimeter, just in case.
Okay, don't be too long. All of Monaco's hard work.
I wouldn't miss Monaco's cooking. I'll be back.
Do you need a hand?
No. I'm just gonna summon Hootie.
Oh, okay.
And Horatio continues to go upstairs. Like,
Wizard Horatio is working on making sure we're safe. Don't worry, King. We will protect you.
We all need protecting. I still have a way to potentially sanctify this space, but I don't know if it's necessary considering they've already been here.
What are we gonna do with the boat when we land in Beach Bay anyway?
I don't know. Maybe we could put it on an autopilot mode and it will just float around in circles until we call it.
Well, let's discuss this over lunch
I don't
at
know.
least. Come on.
Right, let's go. And I'll march downstairs and start setting up placemats for everyone and helping put out the lunch or dinner. What time is it? So I'll put out the lunch plate.
So you guys head down in the afternoon. Though the skies look no different. As a reminder, it is always dusk, but there's still sunlight nonetheless. And you go ahead and start to plate the meal, and all of you start to take your your food and begin to consume. Meanwhile, Horatio, you make your way up towards the top, to the deck of the ship. The wind is blowing back, and you make sure that you're still going due east, which you are. You've properly placed it so that the ship is driving itself correctly in the right position. Putting down your incense and your other components you need to summon Hui, begin the ritual. Is at that point where your jewelry of sending begins to hum, and you hear a familiar voice inside of your head. Well, well, well. We haven't spoken in quite some time. You remember me, dear friend? Well, I have it on right authority to know that you're heading towards Thelos, aren't you? You remember our deal, don't you?
Fully aware of our deal, but debating on whether I should complete it or not, being as you sailed this on the way to Thelos.
Oh, I have to apologize about deja vu. They can be a little overzealous for my affection.
So you're saying you had nothing to do with it?
No, of course not. I need you to get to the Corporus Arcana to bring me the shard here in Duskhaven. It's the last one, and then I can continue on my journey. And you can have your precious Wren back, if you want her alive, that is.
Alright, yes. I'll make sure I get the shard.
I have all confidence that you will. The more and more that I remember who you are, realize who you are, the more exciting it gets. You do have ties to the Corporus, don't you?
Yes, I do.
But not just any ties. You are Delorian, are you not?
Says that Horatio kind of gets a little, cold feel down his spine and doesn't answer.
I take it from your silence that I'm correct. I know all about Susan Kane, or who you believe is Susan Kane anyway. Remember, if you wish to know more about your mother and your father, and how you're all tied to all this cosmic destiny, you'll do as I say. I will be making an appearance in Thelos, the arcane capital, in the near future. I suggest you get the shard, by any means necessary, and hand it over to me by then. I'll be in contact.
I do have one question.
Yes.
Where is Eros? As Horatio mentions the name of the third Trias that is not missing, that we don't know about.
He takes a pause. There's a moment where there's no sound, and then he says, "How do you know that name?"
Don't think that you're the only one that can get information. And then I completely ignore him for the rest of the voyage.
One last thing he says to you as you're ignoring him, he goes, "Well, don't you worry yourself about Eros, though I'm sure you have crossed paths with him before, but never you mind. Get me the shard from the Corporus Arcana, and I'll let you know everything you need to know, and want to know, and should know. A mother shouldn't lie to her son, especially that of the divine nature." And after that, and you not responding, he doesn't talk back to you. And you complete the ritual after an hour, summoning Hootie, who pops up from the ashes and the coal, fluttering his feathers and dusting and shaking off the dust before landing onto your shoulders.
As Hootie lands on Horatio's shoulders, he kind of just takes a couple deep breaths and then tells Hootie to get on his finger and looks at him and says, "I need you to keep an eye out for me, buddy. Stay within 1,000 feet and alert me of anything." And kind of signals for him to fly away.
Hootie spins his head around a little bit, as an owl does, chirps in acknowledgement before fluttering off, keeping a distance of about 1,000 feet above you, surveying the area.
And then kind of holds his hand that's shaking a little bit, lets out a scream, and just goes back downstairs to everyone.
Alright. All of you downstairs, roll me a perception check. Alright. So King, Duran,
17.
20.
Cal, and Monaco.
A 17.
Okay. All of you, with the exception of Cal, who's probably intrigued with his meal, hear a scream coming from the top, and the door slamming behind him. As Horatio, you make your way downstairs.
And I'm already with everyone?
You walk downstairs. After a few moments, you open up the door and see everyone eating.
Did you cast... He cast Find Familiar as an action, right? Or
He
did it take a full hour?
He did a full hour. Find familiar always is a full hour.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, really? Okay. So then the entire time, the place setting that I had set out for Horatio, slowly like flower petals appeared on the like around the plate and just sort of sat there. And I've been casting prestidigitation constantly on his meal to keep it warm. Just every now and again, I as we would conversate for the hour, I just like lift up my hand and recast to make sure that his meal was as good as it was when Minako brought it out of the kitchen.
So you smell your meal coming, the wafting in from the room, opening it up. You see everyone else conversing and finishing up their meal.
Horatio says, "Sorry, guys," and he goes to grab his meal and sees the petals and immediately knows it was King and says, "Thank you."
Oh, you have to have it hot. It's so good.
Yes.
And these new things, what do you call them? They're crispy and yummy.
Root slices, but I don't think I like that name as much.
Okay, we'll workshop it, but they're so good. You have to have them.
Horatio's kind of like eating, but you guys see he has like the 1,000-yard stare.
Duran is going to brain chat Horatio. Horatio, are you okay?
He kind of snaps out of it and looks at Duran and then just says out loud, "Yes, I'm okay. Sorry. Duran reached out to me. He let me know he's going to be in Thelos at some time, so we should hurry."
Dramo. If he is going to be in Thelos, then I will be ready for him there.
Is this ship moving as fast as it can?
I believe I set it to its full speed, so it should be.
Does it need more energy? I could feed it some before we go to sleep for the evening. I don't understand how it works. Just let me know if you need some.
DM, would we need to pump more energy into it?
No, you pumped quite a bit of spell slots into it, and it's more like an alternator battery where it just creates its own. And once it gets started, it can perpetually create its own magic to sustain itself. It's very interesting technology.
Okay. So I say, no, it's fine. It kind of creates its own energy. Once it gets started, it's just the initial amount of magic.
Oh, okay. Well, if something happens and you need me, let me know.
Absolutely.
Are you enjoying your dinner? We have so many mushrooms, they're always going to make us an appearance. I quite like them, though. And I like...
I always enjoy Monaco's cooking, and he kind of has a smile on his face as he eats.
So, how did we let this happen? Deja vu got in again. How do we make sure that we know who we're talking to is the right person?
Well, the good news is that we caught differences. Deja vu, even though they may copy an appearance exactly, they don't copy the mannerisms of the individual. So maybe we should keep an eye out for that.
What about people we've never met before?
That would be difficult. We just have to be attentive, try to figure out people's intentions, and maybe we can sense them in a way. I mean, I'm sure that Deja Vu is heavily infused with chaos magic, so I'll make sure to keep an eye out, or feel out, to sense that.
They didn't act like Lancel at all, but it does make me wonder. Do you think Lancel and the rest of the Seekers, do you think they're really dead?
Of course not. Lancel's an incredibly powerful warrior. There's no way he would fall to the likes of Deja Vu.
I don't know exactly how Deja Vu skill works.
So as you all continue to converse about what just happened, is there anything you wish to do? Now, it's going to be a multi-day trip. You can fast forward directly to when you get towards the shore of Beach Bell, if nothing happens on the way, or if there's something you wish to do, you can do so as well.
What if she copies one of us? Can she copy us now? She's met us multiple times.
Well, we know each other well enough to be able to sense any difference in behavior.
Should we come up with like a special thing? Like maybe a code or a phrase that we could say and respond to know that like only us would know? You know what I mean? I'm not like a sneaky spy person, but it feels like that might be something we need to do. Or do you think they'll just break our code and infiltrate us again?
Duran kind of tries to hug King to comfort him.
There's a moment when Minako goes to hug King and she sees Duran hold him. And she gives this sort of confused look for a second, and then
Horatius looks at Duran hug King as well and goes,
I'll turn to Duran and just like completely like hug him and be like, I know you'll protect us and fight, but it's better if we don't let that even happen.
well, let's come up with something now.
Normally, I can sense the differences in someone, in their movement, in the way they talk, in the way they hold their blade. That tells me whether or not they're my equal or close. It's one of the ways warriors can tell another warrior on the battlefield, even surrounded by others. I was distracted at the time, but maybe I can sense deja vu. I've talked once with deja vu before, and I'm familiar with their movements. I let my guard down.
We all did.
Are we us though?
King, I can assure you, I am me.
Are we being looked at though? Can we tell if we're gonna? Can we tell if we're being spied on?
Horatio immediately begins casting detect magic.
Okay. Are you casting it as a ritual or is it just a spell?
It's not prepared, so I have to go.
Okay. So for 10 minutes, you go ahead and performing the spell of detect magic.
I have thought many times as well when we came on the ship on stage I was here. Back on the first layer, sometimes during raids, we would find old remains of meals and old hideaways that were trapped. Perhaps Deja may have left traps for us here as well.
You see like the color just pour from King's face as you say that. And I'm like, can you check my bedroom?
Mm-hmm. And after the 10 minutes of you going back and forth, you complete your detect magic. Your eyes begin to shine up with a silver light, and you begin to look around. Everything changes in shape and begins to glow. You immediately see the magic around all of your friends and allies, of their weapons and different items they have. There's magic hovering across this entire boat. So as if it's enchanted, you just see like enchantment magic all throughout the floors, the ceiling, and as you know, because it magically can change its composition from the inside, as you can. Right now, it's in wood form, but you can make it clear or blend in with the background if you so choose. Is it?
Please don't make it go back to clear.
But is there anything else in particular you're looking for?
I want to kind of see if I find any unfamiliar magic, because I can kind of pinpoint the school of magic. So anything, what school is scrying, to keep an eye on people.
Divination
magic. So I would,
or like you just described that there is a whole bunch of like meaningful and purposeful enchantments on the ship. So those are all he would sense like those are the majority. So what is the one or two that don't fit that?
Exactly. I would look for that specific school of magic.
Nothing other than the normal magic of enchantment, at least in this room. It just looks like just normal enchantment and all the other magics that's to cast it upon your allies.
You'd also see that there's no scryers.
Yeah, there's
room,
nothing
right?
scrying on you right now.
There's
sensors. Sorry, sensors. Okay, I'll say tomorrow. I think I know a way that we can find a way to know for sure. But it is making me feel better to know today.
Absolutely. And I guess we're gonna go through the days. If we're gonna go through the days, on one of the random days, Horatio would try to speak with King privately.
The next day, because I have to prepare spells in the morning when I wake up. So the next day, I would have a different spell ready that I would want to cast.
Don't forget also to grab Standing.
I'll do that on the third day.
We need to let her know. Alright, fine.
She's dead. I'm sorry. I think
she's not.
I think she's dead, so that I don't think that's worth doing.
So, well, why don't you do it and find out? If she's dead, it won't get to her.
Right? So let me do something more.
I can find out, and if she is alive tonight.
Oh, fantastic.
Please do.
So it is the middle of the day. Is there anything you wish to do before we go on to tomorrow? Or do you want to just fast forward to tomorrow?
Is this the first day or the second day? First day?
Like this same day
of the attack.
The attack.
No, there's for now. King King has been through a lot and distraught. Like, this isn't something that Horatio wants to bring up now, so he'll wait.
That night, Minako would use the dream spell once again, but instead of using it to mess with King, she's going to use it to just send a message to Queen Camilla. So if she's asleep and alive, the spell would contact her.
Okay. So that night, you all go and do your nightly rituals before heading to bed. Minako, going into your room, you take out the components you need and cast your dream spell before falling asleep. You reach out. So, and what happens if they're not asleep? It just doesn't work?
Yeah, if the target is awake when I cast the spell, I'm aware that they're awake and alive, and I can wait for them to go to sleep. Otherwise the spell just fails.
Okay. You do reach out, and she is not asleep, but she is alive.
Okay. Minako will not risk exhaustion, but will just absorb the good news that and relay the good news in the morning that she is still alive. Although she will not communicate any kind of special fantastic dreams or wait up for it.
Okay. All right. Anything anyone else wishes to do before going to bed on the first day?
On the first day, Duran is going to spend like part of the day trying to meditate again on his magnetic blade and trying to see if he can get better control of its mysterious properties.
All right. So, placing the blade down onto your legs as you sit down and concentrate and meditate, roll me a wisdom check at advantage.
Awesome. So, wisdom check at
Yes,
advantage. Okay. Rolling now. I rolled an 18.
All right, an 18. So you go ahead and concentrate, trying to focus your thoughts on your connection to this magnetic blade, and you do reach out to it. Your mind mentally connects with it, and it begins floating around you. The wind starts to pick up from around your body and begins to blow up enough where your hair starts to flutter into it, your clothes start to pick up, and the blade begins to float around you. It's starting to spin around your body slowly, but the mental taxation is too great, and at that moment it drops. But you do manage to move it using a combination of your vagary and the magnetic energy coming from this blade. You're almost there. You feel it. You feel like your connection growing even further, unlocking something. Maybe a new vagary power, or something new with this mysterious chaotic blade. You're not sure.
Wizard Horatio! Wizard Horatio, you won't believe what I did! Wizard Horatio! Duran just runs to wherever Horatio is and tells him what happened.
Well, you'll have several rooms here, so you just go down to the room. Though if you're running down the hall, I'm sure everyone's hearing you yelling.
He runs down the hall yelling Wizard Horatio repeatedly.
Horatio kind of sticks his head out the window. What's going on?
Wizard Horatio, I did what you and Cal said. I made the blade spin with the wind.
That's great.
But then my head started to hurt. And is this what magic is like, Wizard Horatio? Did I magic?
No, your head shouldn't hurt unless you're being hit by things. Why did your head?
It was just exhausting and hard to just focus my mind.
Strange. Well, not strange in the sense like you're working really hard. Next time that you're going to work on it, can I observe?
Of course, Wizard Horatio. And with your help, I know I'll succeed.
All right.
Cal!
Ah!
I did what you said. I made the blade spin with the wind.
So you did magic?
Wizard Horatio says it wasn't magic.
Well, let's practice tomorrow on the deck, and maybe we'll figure this out. We'll practice together.
Duran's eyes light up with excitement at the idea.
All right. Anything?
I'm in the stern. That's the back, right?
Yeah.
The stern of the boat. Sitting at the back, just sort of towards the open air and looking at the wake of the water behind us, on like flat deck, just trying to calm myself and get more used to being on a boat and on the water. As a person who's really connected to solid ground, this is uneasy for me. So I'm trying to take a moment to find peace. And I have Chastafil next to me, and I have, I cast the light cantrip, and little lily pads start to open and bloom and offer a soft glow as I create this calm space around me. And then over the course of the next, 2 or 3 hours, depending on the time of day, I might sit out in the evening for a few hours, and I'll just slowly cast plant growth, and I will sort of try and enrich the waters and the kelp and the natural life behind us as the boat flows, and slowly try and offer blessings to the land as we drive by and sit in this serene peace.
Okay. So you go ahead and clash your plant growth. After expending the energy for it, you look down and the waters begin to bubble and shake, and sprouting out of it, though calmly, not very abruptly, you see forms of seaweed and other plant life come out, and the waters are pretty clear at the distance where you are right now. You're not too far off into the middle of the ocean, so from where you are now, it's pretty clear, and looking down through it. Do you have night vision, dark vision?
I do. Out to
Okay,
60
so looking
feet.
down, you can see into the water, and you see piercing, kind of growing up all this kelp and seaweed, and other fish creatures swimming through them, chomping at and beginning eating them as it's creating an abundance of food for them.
Yeah, so I figured the boat's moving very quick through the waters. So even if I can't see it, glancing down quickly and seeing that it's growing fast and that life is starting to flourish makes me happy. So I'm going to just keep expending spell slots. It's a third level, so I'll be a third level, and then an hour, half an hour go by, I'll do another third level. A half an hour, 20 minutes will go by, and then I'll do a fourth level, just until I've used most of my spells for the evening and I feel exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep my 6th level spell open, though.
So, using your spell slots, you create kind of like a trail of plant life in your wake as the boat continues going forth towards the east to Beach Bell. It's keeping its location. Seems like Horatio really got the autopilot feature down pack with the Stokes to keep it in position. It doesn't sway. The ship is magically driven, so the wind doesn't affect it really that much, and it goes into the direction that you're pointed. So you feel relatively safe that you're heading into the right direction before heading off to bed as well.
Before bed, Horatio would kind of start on his notebook working on designs for a portable cannon.
Okay.
With everything that he saw in the book, and when Cal took out his gun and explained the trigger, the pin, and kick, and all of that.
Okay, roll me an intelligence check.
Big money, big money, big money. Ugh. I rolled a 12.
So with a 12, it's hard work, and you're remembering what you saw, and whoever this, the creator, the architect, did a miraculous work. This is technology you've never seen before. Even in the Corpus Arcana, it's beyond this, but it's definitely magically created through some type of combination of metals and weird metallurgy and magic composition that you can't really get your head on, though it's quite interesting. If anything, you would love to meet this Galilea to see how he was able to create such magnificent work. But you don't really quite grasp how it works. Closing the book, you head towards bed. Anything anyone else wants to do?
I guess before bed, Dran is gonna come by King's room and knock on his door at bedtime.
Come in.
King, with everything that happened, I just wanted to make sure you were safe, and I thought that his fingers are poking into each other. He kind of awkwardly looks at the ground.
Please come in. Spend the evening. Be comfortable with me.
Good, that way I can make sure you're safe.
All night.
I won't let any harm befall you.
I'm feeling quite exhausted too, so I could really use a champion to make sure I get fully rested. Sort of hamming into it and laying into the joke a little bit.
Of course, nothing will fall upon your head but a crown. And maybe, he says, leaning closer into King, and he plants a kiss on his forehead and wraps his arms around him.
Oh, I will embrace the hug back and sort of tug you to fall onto the bed with me.
And you hug and embrace each other, displaying affection before fading to black and the night carrying on. So, You all finish a restful evening. No issues come to fruition, and Hootie does not report anything back. Checking in and out whenever you do, Horatio, it's just normal horizon. Some sea creatures hopping out of the wake of the water every so often, but and you can only see this because Hootie has night vision. You can't really see it yourself in the darkness, but it's safe. But you all wake up to a morning with no issues. What would you like to do? Or do you want to go on to the next day and or straight to Beach Bell, which will take you a few more days to get there?
I have something I would like to do.
All right.
During breakfast or lunch, once we've all gathered, I'll ask Horatio, could you please scry once again and ensure that we're not being looked upon?
I don't have a scrying method. I can detect magic.
That's what I mean. Ensure that we are not being looked upon.
Yeah, for sure. And he'll take 10 minutes to check it out. And if this is happening like while we're alone, like just me and just Horatio and King, he would take this opportunity to say to King, I do want to speak to you about something, King.
All right. Let's do it after we all gather and come up with our safe phrase.
Sure. Are you having doubts about if I'm me?
What Duran said about deja vu has really gotten to me, so I just want to be safe and make sure that everyone is who they say they are, and that we're all in it together.
I'll comply.
And basically, I'll convey to you, or I'll say, I just want you to ensure that there's no censors, so that way no one's scrying on us or going to know our safe word, so that way if we come into a compromised position, we all know what to say to each other to know that we're the real us. I want us to have a safe word, so that way if our group is ever in a compromised position, we'll know what to say to each other, so that we understand who's the real them. Since I've been freaked out, Duran's words really got to me. I think deja vu could get us another time if we're not extra careful, so I just want you to make sure that no one's listening or watching us as we discuss really sensitive matters.
Absolutely, I understand. And he continued, are we going to do it as my detect magic is up?
I would want you to yes, see if there's any sensors around, and then that's when we should discuss and look. But I was going to cast a spell once we're all gathered as well.
So maybe we should just all get together now. I mean, I only have like a 10-minute window.
Yes, that's why I thought we would gather during lunch, since this is the morning.
Alright.
The rest of you wake up from your stirrings, and all of you open up the doors and, for the most part, see each other leave their rooms, since you're all right next door to each other. Walking towards the common area where you normally meet up, you get to there to survey your location as well as see how much further you wish to go, and you all meet up in the morning together in that common area, unless there's anything someone wishes to do before meeting up with the group.
If we're all met up together, then I would think now is the best time to do it.
Alright, so you all enter the door one by one. Manako, are you going to do any cooking or just head directly into the common area first?
Yeah, I mean, she's been making the meals for everyone. Not doing anything particularly special, but keeping the quality of the food everyone eats high.
Alright. You're easily able to do so. Heading towards your normal area, you cut to the kitchen, completing a quick meal. It doesn't take you very long to make breakfast, especially at this point. You're so used to cooking for your group, you know exactly what they want and what they need. So eventually you do make it into the common area last, while everyone's sitting there discussing things. And then you all see Manako enter in there with breakfast.
And having the conversation that King and I had, I would begin casting Detect Magic.
Thanks, Horatio. I think that we should all, and then I'll explain what I just said. I think that we should come up with a safe word, so that way we all know what to say in case we think or suspect one of us is deja vu or a similar person. They were quite tricksy, and I look towards Duran and I say, I know that you're going to be more on guard and generally are the most perceptive of us, but I think that it's better to have a backup. So just think of it as an extra safety.
What were you thinking?
I think that we should have a phrase and a response.
All right. Well, in the meantime, who wants potato chips?
Is that what you're calling them? They're so cute. Chomp, 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 chomp.
So, Horatio, you finished your detect magic. Exactly looked the same it was the other day. No scrying that you can see. No other alternative magic. Everything's just the enchantments and the things that you see upon your allies.
So I would say we're all clear.
Okay, thank you. So now that we're all clear, I'm going to ask for divine help to see if we are really... Well, you'll see. And I'll sit on the couch with my legs crossed and hold Chastafol in front of me. And I will take out my little satchel of holy water and rub it on my hands and my arms. And I'll say, I call forth the representative of the night, Nyx or Myliki, heed my call and cast commune and try and get my 3 questions.
All right. So, sitting down, all of you feel the room, the makeup of the room, the atmosphere change. Your hairs begin to stand on end as King begins to concentrate. Even though there's no wind, or because you're inside, you do feel a breeze blowing up as things begin to pick up. And then as King sits down and closes his eyes, the objects that start to fly, like some pen, a quill, ink, books, and papers, begin to float around him, to the point where it's causing a strange spiral shape, as if it's like a leaf blowing into the wind. And you step back, knowing just the familiar way. Well, the one other time you saw him commune before as a group, and you all look kind of anxious, and King begins to concentrate. Your consciousness fades away, and nothing but darkness, as you did before, comes to you, and you sit down there.
In my state of nothingness, my first question is, are we all working together?
Are we all working together? You say out your first questions. You say your first question in your head. Are we on the same side? And you hear nothing but silence first, and then your eyes and your mouth opens, and you're still within this dark realm. But the rest of you see King's eyes and mouth glow with this bright green and black light shining through it. It's not ominous, though. It looks kind of ominous from the way that from how it looks. And you didn't hear the question that he asked, but all you hear is, "One means you harm."
Okay. After the voice fades, the second thought I push out to the nothingness is, are we being set up?
After a silence, and you all hear in your head, and the rest of you hear coming from King, "Treachery is afoot everywhere you look." And that's it from that question.
I'm flustered because the first question answered my second question, because I thought I was being more vague. So now I need to think of a third question.
At this point, King starts to float up, and you all see him no longer sitting down, but Chatafol's floating with him. He still has his legs crossed, and he's just kind of yogi guru floating up.
I'll say, is Deja Vu in Beach Bell?
And you hear a no. There's a stern no coming from King, and in your head. All of you see the paper and items floating around King start to fall down and makes a mess of the room. As he gently glides down to the ground, he opens up his mouth. He opened up his eyes, blinking, and you see all your allies staring at you in the mess that has formed. Down, I would say with all your passive perceptions, you can tell that the objects have landed in the shape of the Temple of Nyx, the symbol of Nyx that you've seen throughout your travels throughout Shivern.
Ooh, sorry for causing the mess, guys, but I felt like divine intervention was necessary for something as important as this.
Horatio's kind of looking around suspiciously.
Great blanket, King. That was amazing.
King, I can't believe what I just saw.
What was the answer to the first question?
The three of you, and the rest of you don't even know what questions were asked. You just heard answers.
Oh, what was the first question asked?
Are we all working together?
Said that one of us isn't.
I put my head down and get really sad.
Horatio says. So, anybody want to speak up? I mean, I've been honest with everyone. Ramo had the rings he wants, the shard. Is there anything that anyone is hiding?
I've been an open book.
Inside check.
Yeah, inside
I'm
check
checking everybody.
It's like that.
I'm inside checking
Ooh.
everybody.
Damn.
I'm inside checking
It's like
everybody.
that.
Roll me an insight check, and that will be your check for everyone. And
Everyone heard what King said, and we just heard what the question was. So there is distrust, at least from Horatio right now.
so we're gonna do this. That way, everyone roll me a deception check. You don't have to say what it is, but if you are lying, that way he doesn't know. That way you don't meta know who may or may not be that saying it. But you can go ahead.
Dice tower
roll in
roll.
the dice tower, which is into the bottom right, and I'll get that number, and we'll see. It doesn't mean you are lying. It just means that you won't know.
Okay. But I don't even know my own role.
Horatio, surely you don't think... I mean, maybe the question?
I mean, the question was simple. Are we all working together? It said one is working against us.
Wizard Horatio, I'm still uncomfortable with these gods, and perhaps they see my discomfort as a threat.
Do I sense that Duran is lying?
Duran seems very sincere.
I don't think that might be it, Duran, but I'm not sure. And he looks over at Cal and Monaco.
Monaco looks over at Cal.
Cal looks at Horatio, and then at Monaco.
As you're all staring at each other, suspicious at your allies around you.
Stop! This isn't what I wanted to cause. I thought that maybe Deja Vu's magics infiltrated us, and maybe it is controlling one of us right now.
I mean,
To
the same side? Who knows?
I didn't say same side. I said, are we working together?
I thought we were working together.
I mean, what is it that we all want? It's obvious that I want to find my parents. King, you wish to find your land, correct?
Yes.
Duran?
I think that it's interpreted a little bit more currently. Are we all working together towards our goal of getting to Thelos?
And saving
Maybe
Fia.
someone doesn't want us to get there. Maybe someone doesn't want Fia to be saved.
I must admit, I felt terrible about leaving my homeland, but...
You don't want it to be burned to the ground, though.
I mean, when I think about my sisters back... no, it's too terrible.
Every one of us has risked our lives for the other on the field of battle and against these horrible enemies. I don't know what these gods can mean by this, and that is another reason I do not trust them so openly.
And with all your passive insights and Horatio you roll as you look at everyone, seems that everyone seems pretty sincere. No one's lying per se about their goals, about reaching Thelos. I mean, Monaco seems a little shifty, but you know how you might just think this is a normal Monaco reaction. She is leaving her home, and this is all new to her, but nothing that really speaks out as traitor to you or anything like that.
I'll say they're not omniscient. Maybe they're considering minor transgressions more harshly.
It's fine.
Let's just table this part of it for now. But I agree, Horatio, we need to be careful with each other. But the second question was, are we being set up?
Said treachery is
Treachery?
Then I don't think that we will find safe harbor in any place.
I do have contacts in Corporis Arcana.
Guaranteed?
Well,
Unadulterated?
see, the thing is, since I left Corporis, it might be a little difficult for me to get to these contacts, but I believe so, yes.
King's face shifts.
They don't really take it lightly at the Arcana if you learn everything you can from them and then join another faction.
What? Why? Okay, let's save that for another day.
I just thought we were coming up with a call and response to each other to know that we are who we are.
Well, I wanted to make sure that we were all working together before I did that, but now I'm not sure. if that's necessary anymore.
I trust you all. I hope you can trust me.
My last question was, is Deja Vu at Beach Bell? And I got a resounding no. But I should have asked, are they going there? And I messed up because I panicked.
That's good. Then perhaps we can beat them there.
Well, we know that Doramo is going to Thelos, and he knows that, or maybe he does not know, that we know to keep an eye out for dwarves. Also, he was a bit surprised when I mentioned the name Eros.
When did you speak with him?
Yesterday when I was on the dock, summoning
I see.
reached out to me.
Oh.
That's when he told me he's going to Thelos.
Huh. And he can just do that at any time? To all of us?
Yeah. Remember, he does not know that you guys know he has the ring. So I would really appreciate it if you do not reach out to him.
I wasn't gonna try.
Alright. Is there anything else you wish to discuss? If not, Liberators, the day is yours. You could do anything else, or we can go on to the next day. It is still quite early in the morning.
Well, I would try to speak with King in private. King, do you have a minute?
Absolutely.
And I would just, we go somewhere where there's nobody, and I'd say, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little concerned.
About?
The one working against us within our group?
I was really hoping to get a different answer than that. Who do you think it is?
I don't know. I mean,
I've known Duran the longest, and he's the one I feel the most comfortable, but I've had such good moments with the others as well. I don't know.
I really couldn't tell if they were... Anyways, that's not what I wanted to speak to you about.
Sorry.
There's something that I've been thinking about doing, and I'm a little concerned. And I was just wondering if I could get your counsel on what you would suggest.
Okay.
So, as you know, I have spell magic infused into the chaos page, and I was thinking about copying that page into my book, but I'm not sure what might happen. What if I become like Doramo? I mean, he used to be Erebus, and now he's that. What if chaos magic is what did that?
I think it's very prudent of you to consider this and ask for counsel. I have the luxury of finding magic within and around me, so it's hard for me to conceptualize it on paper like you, but I have family and friends who are wizards, and under their counsel when I was younger, they were known to have multiple spell books as backups in case one was destroyed or lost. So, if you wish to be extremely prudent, it may take some time and money, but we can make you a second book, and you can use that one to copy the spell in, so that way it is not your primary source of arcana. I think that is probably the best course of action, but it means that it is not something that would be usable for quite some time.
True, and well, that is a great idea, and I thought of that myself. I'm worried that time is of the essence, especially with everything that's happening around us. And my main concern isn't so much having it on my book; it's what would happen to me once I initiate.
You use it?
Yes.
And you see, I look away, and then I look deep back at you, and I say, I'm scared of this magic. I don't understand chaos magic at all. It is foreign and something that I can't even begin to conceptualize. And that's coming from a sorcerer and a caster of magics that mix divine and arcane all the time. It eludes me like no other, and I am afraid. And I do not wish to offer you bad advice, but I must confess this to you before we go any further, because if I were you, I would make sure it was in a separate book, and probably put it off for time and time again.
You see Horatio kind of take like a deep breath of relief and smile and say, I thought I was the only one that was scared of this magic.
No, thank you for admitting that too. It is bizarre, and I am so thankful that Duran is willing to swing that blade and work towards magnetic connections. I don't even know what to say. It's bizarre to me.
Duran did mention that while he was working on it yesterday, he kind of got exhausted and had a headache. Do you think that maybe you could commune and ask about that? Not today. Maybe in the privacy of yourself.
I will look around. Are we completely alone?
Are we, DM?
We tried to.
I mean, you've left the room awkwardly as everyone saw you guys leave, continue their own conversation, but you are alone in the term of you don't see anyone else.
Let's quickly go.
It doesn't need to be right now. It can be later, and you can do it privately.
It needs to be today.
Why?
Just come with me right now, and I'll grab his hand, and I'll run out towards like the back of the boat.
All right.
And I'll say, I've been blessed with magics that allow me to channel and fluctuate day to day. In my morning prayers, the goddesses hear me and channel me, or I am able to channel their will. And today I was able to choose the magic that allows me to commune. Tomorrow it will not be the same. It must be today.
Well then, the questions I'd like for you to ask are, does chaos magic turn a person's heart?
Interesting. And he pulls out like a pen as he pulls out like a little pouch of incense, and then he pulls out like a little vial of holy water, and he pulls out like a little notepad and he writes that down. What's another question? I was so flustered and unprepared.
I would maybe ask if Duran's magnetic blade has the ability of turning his heart as well, or word it as you see fit.
Okay.
And I'm not sure about a third question. Those are the only two that I'm really curious about.
Should we ask about Cal or Monaco? They're the most recent to join us.
I want to just blindly trust them because we've been through fights together. However, I can't ignore the fact that they just spoke an infernal in front of us and basically ousted, though it was Syl's plan, they still ousted it to Kaizen.
Oh, right.
So there's that little seed of distrust because of that. So maybe that's a good question. I mean, you can't, if you ask that, then we'll know it's one of them, but we won't know which one if it happens to be. But there's also the small point that what if it's not any of them? It's one of the three of us. It's a dangerous question, is my point.
I don't know. Also, and as I'm flipping through my notebook, I'll say, since I cast this magics once today, there's a chance that the gods might not even answer me at all. But I think it's worth trying.
I mean, we'll worry about the third question if we get through the first two, then.
Okay. I'll say, or rather, I'll take the incense that I had out, I'll open a pouch and sprinkle some about, quickly rinse my hands in holy water, and I'll grab his hands, and I'll say, I channel the goddesses of night and the entity of the platinum dragon. Through their wisdom and grace, grant us their knowledge. Champions, I call to you, and cast commune.
Roll me a D100.
2.
Got it. King, you go ahead and sit down with Horatio once again, combining your energy after proclaiming the names of the goddesses and god that the two of you worship, and everything, as it did before when you first communed with Horatio, goes black. You feel the energy of all your sorcery points disappear. You come out, and a huge orb of the tricolor of Myliki Nixon and Bahamut forms up, surrounding you in a spherical shape as the scene changes and you're all shifted once again. Meanwhile, at this point, Monaco, you're inside of the room with everyone. King and Horatio have left for a time being, and everything goes dark for you in this moment. I need everyone to jump into the void, except for Monaco, obviously. Monaco, the scene around you shifts and changes, and everything goes dark once again. It's the little bit that you can see, you see that all your allies are frozen in motion as time has seemed to stop. You're so used to this feeling that you expect the burning sensation of a hand to hit your shoulder, but instead you see appearing before you a black, shimmering light of shadows, black shimmering shadows. They start to piece themselves together one by one before completing what you see as a red tiefling gentleman with horns that are sharp like bulls, but going straight up from his temples. He's wearing a black suit and a large, thick tail, devilish tail. After it completes, very handsome face, and it has very bestial, cat-like yellow eyes. Ah, hello there, beloved. It is a pleasure to finally see you face to face.
I can see you. She seems stunned.
Yes, I thought it'd be best that we discuss things, as I've learned many truths between you and your allies. One now communes with the gods and is unlocking something that I need dearly. Enter this spell that they have casted together. I need the conduit of Myliki. She slumbers deep within the one you call king. He is but a shell for her to be reborn. But with that power, I can finally leave my wretched prison and truly be with you, my beloved. Stop them now, any way you can, but beware.
I will do anything to stop their spell. You must be free, so we can be together.
And he walks up to you and holds his hand towards yours and gets down on one knee. Grabbing your wrist, he brings it up to his lips and gives it a kiss. And it burns a little bit, but it's not painful. Whatever you need, the power is yours. Grow stronger. Unlock that vagary of yours. I can see plenty of fun we can have together with our waltzes and dances. You're gonna be powerful. And he fades away, and everything goes back together. And I'm gonna have everyone jump back in.
Finally.
And you see everyone continuing Monaco as if nothing happened.
She smiles and says, "Oh, guys, give me a second. Please do enjoy them." And she quickly departs.
Okay.
I might be distracted by thinks something's wrong, but he's too busy shoving his face with these newfound confections.
Put a bit of salt on it. It'll be much better.
He just gets the salt and he throws it in his mouth with the ones that are already there. Oh, this is better.
And Monaco, you rush your way on out.
Yeah, heading towards where she believed the other two left to go.
Okay, roll me a. I'll say roll me a d20.
A 4.
4. You go ahead and you start to look around for them. You go to the first door you see and open it up, and it's just another empty room. You're heading towards the next room in a hurry, trying to find the correct one. At this moment, King Horatio, the sphere has completed, and everything has shifted, like it did before. As you're trying to communicate, you're frozen in this weird time where all you see is a golden doorway that's slowly being pushed open. Behind you see the familiar visage of Erebus, Eros, and Gaia.
Is Horatio there next to me? I look at him and I just mouth like, "What the fuck?" Are they behind us or in front of us?
They're right in front of you. It's kind of like you're floating in the sky looking down at a movie of them. They're in a moment in time, and you see Gaia running up the door. This is similar to the last thing that you saw when you first communed with them.
I'm going to look to Horatio and I'm going to whisper to him. I'm going to say, "This is the door to the gods. This is when they became gods. Eustacia, I don't know if we're going to get questions. This is different. This normally doesn't happen."
But let's see what happens. And does
Okay,
anything
so-
else happen?
Can we float closer and try and
you can.
observe?
Actually, no. You're kind of above, unable to move, kind of stuck in that moment, looking down at it unfurling before you. At this point, it looks like a battle had just happened, but the three of them are standing at the doorway, looking at each other, and looking down. You see your mother, Horatio, be the first one to enter throughout the doorways as a big, bright light from this 100-foot tall golden arch doorway opens up. The first thing that you do notice, though, is that the archway that they're walking through looks identical to the archways that you've been traveling through to get to each part of the void. But this one's just grander, like the archway that you went through when you teleported to the 6th layer accidentally. and had to use your things. If you remember that part, it's similar to that. But in any case, they step through and everything goes white. When the vision strikes back, what you see is a weird astral spatial realm with several different planets kind of floating about you. There are stars that you've never seen before twinkling in the sky, and a large walkway leading towards another white light. And they look at each other and continue walking. It's at this moment, Monako, that you open up the door and see this happening. You see both King and Horatio holding hands and trapped in this strange magical barrier.
She quickly closes the door behind her and looks at this magical barrier, and then makes a cross motion with her hands, casting counter spell at 5th level to attempt to dispel it.
Okay. Roll me your spellcasting modifier roll.
Ooh, natural 20 for a 25. Plus a proficiency bonus, I imagine, which would be 29.
Yes, 29. All right. King Horatio, as you're following on, the scene continues. Gaia turns over to Erebus and says, We've made it. We can save everyone. We can put everything in order again. We can stop the chaos. And Erebus turns and says, Why, yes, we can stop the chaos finally. But we can use it to our advantage. Don't you see? The gods abandoned us, left us to fend for ourselves against the demons. And Gaia shoots back. No, we won't stoop to that level. I am not going to pull from that chaotic realm of demons. I'm never going back there again. Meanwhile, Eros, looking over to them, looks very shocked and silent, says, Can we just go? I just want to get this over with. I'm scared. And they continue walking. And then the scene shifts and changes again. Is at this moment Monako, is at this moment where they start to walking, you see a black hand that's burning, singeing the basically spherical dome that you're in, start crashing down, and the entire imagery goes blank and starts to fade away again. And you see this burning hand burn down into the sphere you have and shatter into pieces, and you guys are just jolted back into reality.
What just happened? And do we see
Yeah,
Monako
Monaco's right
anymore?
there, hands singeing. You see, Monako, your hands are no longer your own, but more of a infernal nature as it's starting to sizzle from breaking the spell.
Why would you do that?
Monako? Why would you do that?
We were trying to learn about chaos magic.
Don't you see what would happen? Look. And she quickly like comes close to King and says, King, you're already dying. And she reaches her hand behind his neck and very quickly casts minor illusion and pulls her hand back, showing that there's blood on her hands.
Roll me a perception check.
Okay.
Monako.
No,
just
You never know.
Mhm.
Oh, it's just Monako? I thought you were talking.
A deception of 20.
No, I'm sorry. Perception.
Oh, perception.
Yeah.
A perception of 12.
Okay. No, that's fine. Going in, as you're starting to do this, you do notice that King is already bleeding from his ears.
There we go.
And I would say at this moment, King, you start to see coming from your nose blood dripping down as well.
I'm fine. I'm
Wait,
fine.
King, what? Horatio kind of takes like a look at Monako, like with heavy distrust, and then turns to King. King, are you all right?
Can't you see he's bleeding?
I think so. I normally don't use such strong magics simultaneously. I also didn't expect to see that.
We'll discuss what we saw later. Monako, your hands.
She looks down at them for the first time.
And you've seen the mark of the burning hand, which is more of like a skeletal, devilish hand, and your normal tiefling hands have formed into that, but then they slowly start to dissipate and sizzle away until, although all you can see this, your hands go back to normal.
See? It's nothing. But what you were doing could have been very dangerous. Please, don't just use such strong magics without letting us know. King, you could die. Please.
I suppose you're right. I haven't completely mastered it yet, but Horatio is an accomplished wizard, and we would have been able to successfully finish this.
At what cost? King, please. Can't risk yourself.
He would have been fine.
She kind of shoots Horatio a suspicious glare.
I'll, as I, like, wipe my nose and, like, wipe the blood away, I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on myself to, like, heal me up a little bit. And I'll rub my ears and make sure. And as I do, I'll also prestidigitate any, like, blood away.
Yeah, I would say you take from the mental taxation 12 points of psychic damage.
And I'll cast Cure Wounds once or twice.
Monako, you hear whispering in your ears. Good.
She has this kind of, for a moment, she gets this sort of sick smile on her face, but then she shakes it and turns to glaring at Horatio before kind of protectively licking her thumb and smudging a bit of the blood off King's face and saying, "Come on." She looks very concerned, and then she messages Duran in the brain chat. She says, "King, I think he might be hurt. Come down to this room. I'll open the door for you." And then come down to blah 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 room.
Duran stops shoving chips in his mouth.
What? Also, DM, having read upon warlocks, do I recognize that black hand?
Well, you were a religion or a history check?
Oh, God.
I'm 16. You recognize that definitely as, in one of your stories, the infernal devil known as the Burning Hand. You don't know much information about the Burning Hand, but you do know that, like, you saw that symbol and know it's called the Burning Hand. You do know it's a very powerful devil from the Nine Hells.
And her hands look identical to... Okay.
But, okay, I would say Duran... Well, are you Well, Duran, you've heard that message. Are you running down or
Duran
leaving?
runs immediately. Like, he doesn't even... Like, he spits out the chips he had on the way there.
Alright.
Cal follows,
Okay.
not knowing what's
Well,
going
dude,
on.
I hope he can move at his movement speed, because he's moving at full speed to get there.
I mean, it's a boat, and I think I can move at 30, so I'll try to keep up.
Yeah, you're able to follow him. You can catch him. He kind of... Well, no, never mind. You're quick on your feet. You're a lightning dancer, so you can keep up with him. But he does dash off, so you see Duran dash off and through the doors, and you go chasing after him to see what was up. Eventually, Duran, you do see the door open. Monako standing out there and letting you know that's where you need to go, and Cal as well.
He cast some kind of spell. The gods. I don't know. He was bleeding out every face. His face, and I don't know. Horatio said that they were doing something very important.
Let's tend to him. I can cure whatever wounds may remain.
King, this is too dangerous.
As you walk in, I stand up and I'm brushing my knees, like brushing the dust off of my knees, but there's no blood on my face or anywhere. I've prestidigitated that all away. And I say, "She's being hysterical. As you can see, we're fine. We were just trying to research something about the chaos energy to see if it would cause any problems or, I don't know, take over one of us, but a different scene came upon us. But to appease her, please, Cal, I offer myself to you. Cleanse me of any disease I may be."
Of course.
And I'll put my, like, hands up to his hands or whatever so he can channel.
What were you thinking? Duran yells at King in Elven. This is what I was talking about. You can't just risk your life like this.
Horatio interjects and says, "He was just casting another commune." And he answers in Elvish as well. I asked him to hold off until tomorrow, but he refused. But he's alright though.
He's alright now, Horatio. But again and again and again, you constantly put your lives in the hands of these gods who don't care if you get hurt. They don't care if King gets hurt.
In brain chat to King and Duran, Horatio says, "I don't trust Monako. Cal, continue to tend for him. And Duran, stay by his side. I need some fresh
Duran's
air."
eyes go wide open, and he looks at King. He looks at you, King, and he looks back at Horatio, kind of confused and bewildered. He wears it on his sleeve.
The things that Horatio and I learned were very interesting.
Information isn't worth you dying, King.
If it saves many, it might be.
No, it is not. In frustration, Duran's gonna grab something and just throw it at the wall as hard as he can.
You see, there's like a vase there that you pick up and slam it. It shatters into pieces as it crashes against the wall, water splashing up.
You're all being dramatic.
Thank you, Minako, for... Yes, I will say what no one else here has said. Thank you, Minako, for being the only one who cares about what happens to King.
As you all look, as tensions are high, and you all look at each other, and you reminisce and you reflect upon the vision that was given to you. How so close to finding a secret about chaos it seemed before it was shattered right before you knowing. We will take a break.
Hi, I'm the Tale Weaver Omar, and DM here at A Tale of D20's Network.
Hi, I'm Zektown, and I am the DM here at A Tale of D20's Network.
Zek, you know I am the Dungeon Master for the drama-fueled, anime-inspired fantasy epic Descent into the Void, right?
Yes, but Omar, you know I am the Dungeon Master for the comedy-riddled, trope-smashing fantasy epic The Natural Ones.
I guess both of them are perfect shows for a tabletop podcasting network.
It's a good thing that people can find us at ataleofd20s.com then.
Yeah. You can also find us on Twitter at A Tale of D20s. That's at ATALEOFD20S, A Tale of D20s.
And you can find each show on Twitter at The Nat Ones Cast, at THENAT1SCAST, The Nat Ones Cast, or Descent Void at DESCENTVOID, Descent Void on Twitter.
So, if you want thrilling drama
or a side-splitting comedy, A Tale of D20s has you covered.
Hey there, Dungeon Delvers. Thank you for listening. I would like to take this time to thank all of the wonderful people who helped bring Descent into the Void, A Tale of D20s to life, starting with Frank Freire, who designed our character art, Kyle Misko, who collaborated on the main, mystical, and night theme songs, Manuel Lapuca, who collaborated on our battle and adventuring theme song, Jan Rosa for the use of their original soundtracks, David Chappell for the use of his End of Silence, A World of Color soundtrack, MFY for the use of their Dragon Castle Symphony for Duran's theme song, and Danny.Phantom.01 for creating the Liberators' full art. You can find more about these wonderful artists on our website, ataleofd20s.com. Now click on to part 2, and let's continue our epic tale.